Hello everyone, welcome to the Alrasta channel. So today we're going to tell spoilers for episode 165 in the SwallowedStar series based on the novel story. Remember, this is just a novel version. If there are differences in the story and the series, please understand, guys. Okay, instead of being curious, let's watch the video until it's finished. Located in the Insect Corp storage area, Luofeng was accompanied by two guides. He was checking out the different units when they met Casey, another internal member of Wulong Starfield. What should have been an ordinary encounter turned disastrous when Casey launched a deadly attack without warning. In an instant, both Luofeng's guides were killed, while he himself narrowly escaped the same fate. However, Luofeng was not an easy target. As a domain master forged by experience and battle, he had protective measures. Quickly, he mobilized the Cloud Contact Vine to fight against Casey. It seemed that Casey could be defeated, but before death came for him, he released something even more terrifying, an eternal fire that raged out of control. The flame was not just an ordinary explosion, with a power that resembled the self-destruction of an immortal warrior. However, Luofeng had prepared by using the metal of the flame god race, one of the most sophisticated and deadly weapons made by the automaton race, and he managed to create an explosion powerful enough to erase his trail. As the destruction occurred, Luofeng was tens of thousands of kilometers away, saving himself from the threat that almost took his life. Luofeng knew that this situation was far from over. The traces of destruction left by the eternal flame would be difficult to hide, and with no living witnesses left, his every word had to be convincing enough not to arouse further suspicion. On the other hand, one of the guards around Luofeng spoke up, stating that the entire incident had been recorded and would be forwarded to the Wulong Starfield security system. However, the final decision was not in his hands. 5 executives from big organizations will review the case before making a decision. Just then, a space crack appeared in the distance. In an instant, a universe ship was transformed from nothingness. It was King Longju's ship. The cabin door opened and 2 figures shot out, King Longju himself and Dylan, who immediately approached Luofeng with a worried expression. Although Luofeng had survived, the problem was not over. Losing more than 1,000 Worldmaster insect corpses was no small matter. In such a high-security area, this kind of incident would trigger a massive investigation. King Longjue realized that although Luofeng claimed to have been attacked, there was not enough evidence to support his claim. All the witnesses had disappeared, both the guide and Casey himself. Without sufficient evidence, Luofeng might face even bigger problems in the future. Now, he could only wait and hope that the alibi he had constructed was strong enough to free him from suspicion. However, in his heart, he knew that the real fight had just begun. Meanwhile, Dylan, with burning anger, blamed the internal management, which he considered useless. The incident almost took Luofeng's life, although he was lucky to survive. However, Luofeng's survival presented new and even bigger problems. King Longjue, with a serious face, admitted that this incident was not entirely his fault. Dylan, who was originally tasked with protecting Luofeng, felt guilty for placing too much trust in the security of Wulong Starfield. He had only left Luofeng for a moment. However, in that short time, the enemy had attacked brutally. The Grand Master had entrusted this task to him, but he had failed to carry it out perfectly. On the other hand, King Longjue tried to calm the situation. He stated that even though he sided with Luofeng, the final decision remained in the hands of the 5 executives who led the region. Among the 5 managers who had authority, not all could be trusted. The intense competition among them made trust a rare commodity. Of the other 4 executives, King Yanju was the one to watch out for. Coming from the huge Axe Dojo organization, this figure has a terrible background and is known as the most brutal among them. A moment later, the space sky began to shake, signaling the arrival of other ships. 4 large ships with the highest technology appeared in seconds from the open cabin doors. Dozens of figures appeared, including immortal soldiers who were rarely seen in this place. 4 executives led their respective troops. Among them, a man with an extraordinary face, handsome, attracted everyone's attention. His silver hair shimmered, his skin was like crystal, and the mysterious carvings on his forehead exuded an ancient energy that dazzled anyone who saw him. He is King Yanzhu, a figure who is said to be an absolute miracle, a perfect man who can even fascinate people of different races. King Longzhu, as the executive of the Virtual Universe Company, then introduced the other executives, King Danian of Universe First Bank, King Cheng Yu of Universe Star River Bank, and King Yin Gai of Universe Mercenary Alliance. Each has great power and influence in the Wulong Starfield ecosystem. Although they compete with each other, in situations like this, they must work together to find the truth behind the attack. When the conversation began to turn to Luofeng, King Yanzhu immediately took control with a soft but powerfully stirring voice, stating that there was no concrete evidence of the true events. 3 internal members had died, leaving many questions unanswered. Furthermore, King Yanzhu even accused Luofeng of possibly having planned the murder himself in order to gain huge profits from the World Master's highly valuable insect corpse unit. The accusation sparked tension. Luofeng, although angry, tried to remain calm. King Yanzhu then demanded that he prove his innocence by allowing himself to perform the soul search technique, a very dangerous process because it allows someone to access his deepest memory. Without hesitation, Luofeng refused. He did not want his fate to be in the hands of others, especially someone like King Yanzhu. King Longzhu, who understood the risks of the soul-searching technique, defended Luofeng. Surrendering oneself to soul-searching was too dangerous an act, even for a genius like Luofeng. If even the slightest mistake were to occur, he could lose his memory and become an idiot forever. King Yanzhu finally moved on to another question, questioning the presence of the metal from the flame god race that Luofeng used in battle. However, Luofeng cleverly replied that one does not always need proof of purchase to own an item. To prove it, Luofeng took out several valuables from his storage ring, such as an E9 laser gun and 100 pieces of purple net. There was no purchase record for these items, but he still had them. By the same logic, he stated that ownership of the metal from the flame god race did not require written proof of transaction. Tensions continued to rise between them. King Yanzhu remained skeptical, while others began to consider the possibility that Luofeng was innocent. Meanwhile, King Longzhu and Dylan secretly contacted Emperor Zhen Yan, hoping his arrival could end this dispute. Luofeng could only wait and keep calm, because he knew that in this kind of power game, one wrong move could mean destruction. King Yanzhu stared sharply at Luofeng, paying attention to the 100 purple net leaves and the E9 laser gun in his hand. Those items didn't mean much to an immortal like him, but still, he was surprised to see a level 9 domain master young man with such wealth and abilities. Having the extraordinary resources to buy those items was impressive enough, but acquiring them without spending much was something different. In the tense silence, King Yanzhu mentioned the metal of the flame god race but chose not to pursue the matter further. Instead, he turned to another topic that was more important to him, the soul slave that Luofeng was controlling. He wanted to know who the slave was, where he came from, and which universe and star system he was from. The question made Luofeng alert. This was a trap, a loophole that could be a big problem for him. In extraordinary calm, Luofeng devised his answer. He recalled buying a large number of universe-level slaves, including someone called Taiwu. In his memory, Taiwu was a talented slave who, despite having a crude training method and no resources, managed to reach universe level 9. Luofeng claimed that he only helped him develop with the best techniques and resources while working at the Virtual Universe Company. Gradually, Taiwu reached the level of World Master thanks to his luck. However, King Yanzhu did not just accept that explanation. He had investigated Luofeng's background before the genius competition and did not find enough information. Slave transactions that take place in the dark are difficult to trace, but King Yanzhu still wanted to be sure. Doubts grew when he asked about the soul control technique Luofeng used. The answer given was soul imprinting, a technique that seemed unfamiliar to King Yanzhu. However, King Longzhu, who was next to him, immediately interrupted. He reminded him that Luofeng had once piloted the planet Yunmo's ship, a relic of Huyan Bo, which had a technique for controlling immortal slaves. With that information, King Yanju began to understand that Luofeng had inherited from Huyan Bo, who used soul imprints to control his 9 slaves. King Yanju was still not satisfied. He pressed further, asking for a complete list of the other 9 world master rulers Luofeng mentioned. When Luofeng replied that they were from the Golden Horn clan that had once protected him, King Yanju's anger escalated even more. The Golden Horn clan did indeed submit to humans, but they managed the next generation themselves without human intervention, making further investigation of them almost impossible. King Yanju did not remain silent. He immediately ordered more than 100 of his subordinates in white and purple robes to investigate the battle area. His orders were clear. Look for traces of battle, gather all clues, and find any evidence that could reinforce his suspicions. In the midst of this investigation, a covert plan was executed. King Yanju secretly ordered one of his purple-robed subordinates to place fragments of an immortal weapon at the battle site, creating the illusion that the weapon was evidence of Luofeng's involvement in something suspicious. Shortly thereafter, the investigators returned with various items of evidence. Among these items, King Yanju pointed to a weapon fragment engraved with the laws of flame, claiming that it belonged to an immortal who possessed the power of flame. With a suspicious tone, he speculated that the explosion that occurred was not due to metal from the flame god race, but rather an attack from the undying flame. Luofeng faced these accusations calmly, explaining that in major battles, the internal world of the dead world masters causes many items to be scattered everywhere. However, King Yanju remained dissatisfied. He accused Luofeng of lying, stating that all his answers could not be verified. In a climax of tension, King Yanju finally made a drastic decision. He ordered that Luofeng be sent to the first Starfield Hell, a prison known as the most strict detention center in the history of mankind. The order shocked many people, including King Longjue and other executives. Luofeng did not remain silent. He angrily retorted that he came to Wulong Starfield to buy goods, but instead became the target of an attack. He even said that the protection provided was very poor and almost cost him his life, and now he is even accused for no apparent reason. In the midst of his anger, Luofeng mentioned several names that made King Yanju silent: Venerable 9 Swords and the leader of Tianshi Palace. These 2 figures are living legends that even King Yanju himself does not want to deal with directly. With his composure beginning to shake, King Yanju chose not to take any further risks. However, he still insisted on detaining Luofeng, even if only under house arrest at Drizzle Palace. Thus, Luofeng was taken there by 2 undead. Meanwhile, King Yanju and his subordinates remained in suspense, realizing that they had just ignited a fire bigger than they had anticipated. Drizzle Palace, which was originally just a hall for training, slowly turned into a place that was more often used as a prison. The building towered 100 meters high and reached several hundred meters in length and width. Inside, there was only a silent and empty void. In the midst of the silence, Luofeng sat cross-legged, his eyes closed, his mind focused on the flow of energy surrounding his body. However, his mind was distracted by the sound of Dylan's energy penetrating the hall, conveying a message that King Yanju had acted out of line, trying to find trouble with him. Dylan assured him that the matter would be resolved soon. However, Luofeng just smiled calmly. For him, this was just a small problem that meant nothing. Suddenly, the communicator on Luofeng's wrist rang, signaling an incoming call. When Luofeng saw the caller ID, his heart trembled slightly. His master was calling. Without hesitation, he answered. His consciousness was immediately connected to the virtual universe and took him to Yuxiang Mountain. In the magnificent hall, Emperor Zhen Yan was already waiting. Luofeng soon arrived and showed his respect. Emperor Zhen Yan, with sharp judgment but full of wisdom, asked his disciple to sit down and begin to discuss the current situation. He had checked the records of Wulong Starfield and confirmed that everything Luofeng said was true. The attack he experienced was real, and the fire that burned afterwards was not a lie. However, there were some things he did not reveal in detail, but the gist of the story was still true. Emperor Zhen Yan, who had lived for trillions of years, understood that every genius that survived in the vast universe must have their own secrets. He did not try to dig deeper. He just wanted to make sure that what Luofeng did was not excessive. In the discussion, Emperor Zhen Yan explained the power of the Tunshi palace leader, a figure who had ruled for trillions of years. Even compared to other warriors, his power was much higher, being one of the top brass in the virtual universe company. Hearing this, Luofeng understood even more how influential this figure was. However, Luofeng was curious as to why King Yanzhu was targeting him so much. He had never met him before. Emperor Zhen Yan explained that this was the result of an old conflict. Yanzhu was not a true genius, but someone who got everything thanks to his father, Emperor Shi, an extraordinary figure from Huge Axe Dojo. With all the unlimited resources given to him, Yanzhu is still an ordinary individual. His father even held back his progress to the world master level for more than 9 million years in order to strengthen his son. Countless resources were given to him, even treasures that other warriors would want. However, with all that, he still only reached a level that anyone with the same resources could have achieved. Emperor Zhen Yan remembers him as a figure who is jealous of true geniuses. He had challenged Emperor Zhen Yan, but always lost, which eventually fostered deep hatred in him. Now, with Luofeng as Emperor Zhen Yan's disciple, that hatred has resurfaced. Yanzhu could not do anything to Emperor Zhen Yan, but he could find a way to bring down his disciple. However, Emperor Zhen Yan calmed Luofeng, assuring him that their company would not back down from the pressure of the Huge Axe Dojo organization. This conflict was not just a personal matter, but also involved two great powers in the universe. On the other hand, inside his magnificent palace, Yanzhu sat with an angry look on his face. The emperor's disciple, Huge Axe Dojo, had dared to oppose him, making his blood boil with anger. Old memories came to mind of how he had once been trampled on by Emperor Zhen Yan. He had begged his father to kill his nemesis, but his father had instead cast him into the 9th star hell for 1,000 years to learn to control his emotions. Now he could not kill Luofeng directly, but he would not forget this insult either. In his heart, he swore that one day, Luofeng would feel his revenge. He was just waiting for the right time. So what happens next? Let's wait for the video next week. Okay guys, that's the spoiler for episode 165 of the SwallowedStar series. Okay, thank you very much for watching until the end. The last word from me, bye.